Welcome to State of Tech, Synechron's innovation podcast. Synechron is a leading global digital transformation consulting firm focused on financial services and big technology organizations. Our State of Tech podcast hosts subject matter experts and business leaders as they explore emerging technologies, industry insights, innovation trends, and more. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Synechron's State of Tech podcast series. I'm Antonia Maneta, Chief Marketing Officer and your host for today's special episode in celebration of International Women's Day. Today we have the privilege of being joined by two distinguished leaders from the Synechron team, Mihir Shah, President for EMEA, APAC and India, and Mei Yang, President for North America. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tonia.
Thank you, Tonia. Really happy to be here.
Our conversation will focus on the triumphs and challenges experienced by women in tech, the importance of allyship, as well as the key strategies and initiatives that can be instrumental in creating more opportunities for economic empowerment. Are you both ready to go?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely.
Great. I want to start off by illustrating what a career in tech industry looks like from a woman's perspective. So, May, can you share your journey in the tech industry and the unique challenges you faced as a woman in a traditionally male-dominated field?
Sure, Tonia. I think the industry has changed a lot and it has been a very enriching experience. It's an industry that has gone through tech changes as well as changes in terms of gender representation. So I've started off with a more operations back office role, and now I have the privilege to take on a more front office facing role. And that has really helped me to grow personally as well. In terms of the unique challenges, I think some of it would be lack of representation. Even though now we do see more women in leadership position and technical roles, it is still a sense of isolation due to a limited access to mentorship as well as support networks. In terms of the workplace culture in a more male-dominated field, it may not always be extremely inclusive, but I do see over the last 10 years or so, the industry has really evolved, and now there are more and more support groups that would help to drive the feeling of inclusion and that safety level for all women employees as well.
That was very interesting, and thank you for sharing this with us. I want to go now to Mihir. Given what was shared by May just now, in your perspective, how can men in leadership roles be allies for women in the tech industry?
The fact that we're having these types of conversations are a big step forward. I remember when I started my career about 20 years ago, there was a lack of conversation, and that created a lack of acknowledgement of the problem and the disparity we see in the industry. So the fact that we're having these conversations and shedding light on this issue is the first start. Second is actually implementing and driving change. And that is a responsibility of all leaders, male and female, irrespective of their seniority or locations. So that combined with a determination by organizations to proactively engage on these issues is the way forward to bridging the gap we see currently.
Thank you very much, Mihir. With inclusivity in mind, let's discuss economic empowerment. Could you refer to some strategies maybe to create more opportunities for economic empowerment for women in tech?
So some of the strategies that we can deploy would be to support returnship programs, offering, for example, a woman back to work program for women that have taken a career break, regardless of reasons, to re-enter the tech industry again. As I've mentioned earlier, the tech industry has evolved so quickly that now there are a lot of low-code, no-code opportunities for women to come back and ease in back to the tech industries as well. So this returnship program, specifically targeting certain skill sets, would be a good direction to start off. Organizations can also provide flexible work arrangements for their employees to ensure that there is inclusivity in terms of their policies, as well as to support your employees' personal responsibilities. So these are the couple of strategies that we can explore.
Thank you. And Mihir?
No, I agree with everything May said, and I think those are great initiatives, and I think she articulated it really well. In addition to that, as a more tangible economic empowerment is around being conscious about gender pay gaps at various parts of the organization, whether it's at junior level to senior, and having that focus on creating that economic parity in all levels of the organization is one of more tangible methods I think we can create economic empowerment.
There is definitely lots of food for thought in both these answers. Thank you. There are some factors companies should be exploring to continue advancing women in this industry. What advice would you give to young women who are considering a career in technology, but may be hesitant due to the perceived challenges and barriers?
I think one of the advice would be to seek mentorship and allyship earlier on in your career as well. Not just female mentors, right, but both men and women that can provide you guidance, support, as well as encouragement as you navigate a career in tech. Those mentors can be within your circle and can also be external. I think at times we are quite shy to ask for help. And as we continue to reach out, we'll be surprised at the number of role models that will actually step up to volunteer to be mentors for you.
I agree. I mean, mentorship is a big support that people should leverage, again, regardless of sex, but that's a very powerful method. I think, if you take a step back, Tonya, as a father of two girls who are at school age, what we're seeing now is IT being taught at grassroots levels at a very young age. And that's going to create a new workforce that is more diverse and economically powered through the conversations we are having right now. So when the next generation comes through, it's no longer a barrier to entry. And like May said, having mentorship programs is one of those tools, but also evolution in technology with generative AI that will level the playing field for a large number of new talent that's emerging and make it a lot more accessible through various backgrounds that they might come from.
You have definitely made some very valid points and some that I have never considered myself, so thank you for that. And it's important to call those things out and tackle them proactively. Now, if we want to look into the future, what are some emerging trends or opportunities in the tech industry that can create a more inclusive and supportive environment for female professionals?
As I mentioned, I think generative AI is the topic of the day at the moment, and I think that will create a level playing field across the globe, across social classes, and economic barriers will be broken down as it will become a lot more accessible, as we've already seen. And if you extrapolate that further, there's things around quantum computing. May mentioned earlier around low-code, no-code technologies. I mean, those are some of the trends looking forward, and that will require a multidisciplinary approach, which will create a workforce that is diverse in thought and in culture.
A lot of times from the organization perspective, we're trying to map how do we close the gap in terms of diversity. And there is a lack of data. And now you do see more and more fintechs coming up to provide products. For example, earlier on, Mihir talked about being aware of pay equity, right? There are products in the market that help to track pay equity to help us to be even more fair in terms of our approach to this topic as well. So there are a lot of products in the market now that help organizations to be better equipped with better data, to be able to provide a more level playing field for all their employees. So this is also a big opportunity as well for organizations to continue to evolve their tech stack, to be able to be more open, to embrace new products in the market, to ensure that they build a more inclusive workforce.
Can you share your views on the future of women in tech and the steps we need to take to ensure their success and growth?
The future is very bright. I think we have started taking big steps. Initially, it was a tick in the box to ensure that there is a certain percentage of women in certain levels, certain designation, and certain job scope as well. But now, as Mihir has mentioned, it's now a topic that is widely talked about. So it's more acceptable, and we are seeing more and more women in technology. And as we start building out pipelines of younger students at the college age or even at the junior stage, starting to move into science and technology, very soon we will start seeing that there are more and more women coming into the technology space. I think something that we need to be aware of to ensure that women are successful and they continue to grow in this industry is some of the microaggressions that tend to be there, that we take it for granted that, well, this is how things are. But I think to be more aware about microaggressions and what are the tools that we can use to help our colleagues to be successful, I think that will create a more collaborative and inclusive workplace.
I completely agree with what May said. I think there's some excellent points, especially the points around the microaggression and how we can deal with that. That's a very important point. But just to echo what May said, I think the future for women in tech is extremely bright. Across the globe, when I travel and I talk to young adults, computer science and engineering is being taught at a grassroots level, and the engagement of the emerging generations is so prevalent that I think the future is really bright. Additionally, if you look at the current generation of college and university graduates. You look at our delivery centers in Serbia, there's almost 50-50 male to female ratios. That's down to the education system in place in that country that's promoting technology and engineering as a discipline. And as May mentioned, there are more and more science and tech programs previously reserved for certain academic levels or certain academic schools. Now you see them more and more prevalent across all social and economic population across the world. So I think the future is very bright. I think the future is very exciting. And I think the future is very encouraging for women in tech.
With that, we conclude today's podcast. May and Mihir, thank you for joining us. And for all our listeners, join us again to explore more insights of the Synechron State of Tech series.
Thanks for listening to the Synechron State of Tech podcast. Don't forget to like and share this episode and subscribe to stay up to date on all of the latest and innovative technologies savvy businesses need to know about. To learn more about Synechron, head to our website at www.synechron.com. Stay tuned.